Well, hello, how are you all today? Welcome to American Reversion. Where you been? Well, where you been, Steve? I have not been here, and I'll tell you why. I said this on another channel earlier today. I haven't been on American Reversion very much for a while. I put some stuff up over on the Patreon channel, but I haven't. Let me get squared away here. Do we have this? Okay. Haven't been on here much because there was really nothing to say. What the last 6 months or so has been well, everybody's been covering all the complaints, and how much can you complain, right? I got tired of the complaints, got tired of the argument, got tired of the he's going to do this, no he's not going to do that, whatever. There was really nothing that I could add to what was going on. And now it is changed. Look at this. Are we ready to make America great again? Now there will be some of you out there who say, well, he's not going to do anything because he is just controlled opposition and he was selected and not elected. And to those of you who will say that, well, you're either working for the other side or you have fallen prey to this kind of insanity, and you believe what these people have been telling you, and I want to try to extricate you from that trap. Okay, you probably need, I don't know if you need a 12-step program or whatever, but know what happened with the election and then with the inauguration is American politics. It is what politics are about. It's the result of politics, about people getting out there and doing what they're supposed to be doing. You know, the people who are the naysayers. I'm going to talk here in just a minute. Have you kept up? Have you watched the inauguration? Did you see him signing all the executive orders? I'm going to talk about the executive orders here in just a minute. We're going to go through a list of them, and we're gonna take a look at what's really going on and what we think will be the result. But remember those people that said they'll never let him get elected, right? Well, what happened? Okay. Then remember the ones that said whoever they are, they will never let him take office. Something's gonna happen. Well, look what happened, right? Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is to reassure those of you who do not feel that way, that there will always be naysayers. There will always be those who would rather complain than actually do something, and let them go. Don't pay any attention to them. We are coming into, I might call this a new morning in America, because it is. I remember when Reagan came in, and it was a morning in America. Things changed. Now, sadly, they changed back. Okay, we're going to have to try to keep things going this time, but this is, I tell you, he has changed more things faster than anybody, probably anybody in American history, right? And it's all going the right way as far as I'm concerned. So for those people who are out there saying, I hope that you will take a look at the things that have happened and realize that this is politics. The reason that Trump won is because finally enough people on the conservative, you can say conservative, you can say independent, you can say, I don't care what you say, enough people on the right side got up and went and voted, and they worked, and our side worked hard. They weren't able to cheat this time. Too big to rig, right? They weren't able to cheat this time, not out of luck, but because our people, led by Laura Trump, worked their butts off. They had a plan. They knew what was coming this time. They weren't blindsided like they were the last time. And they got out there and they kept it from happening. And this demonstrates the importance of being involved politically. Okay, so have you been watching? Have you been watching? I spent all day yesterday watching the inauguration. It was inspiring. I loved. Oh, he was brutal, wasn't he brutal? Talking just scathing against those people who were sitting behind him, Obama and Biden and all those. It was enjoyable to watch. Very rarely do I ever take a whole day and pretty much just watch TV. I don't usually have time, but I did for the most part yesterday, and I was still watching it into the evening. I was watching it when he went to the armed forces. That's not the name of it. What is it then? Somebody out there will know. Anyways, the armed forces party, where he did the dance with the saber after cutting the cake. Did you see that? This guy is something. I'll tell you, this guy, first off, he's smart. He is a bulldog. He never gives up. He's got more energy than any 2 or 3 other people that I know. And this is why he wins. Okay. We're going to get to some of the things that he said here in a minute, but I do want to put this right up front of the video here, and that is too many people don't know enough about Trump. And I've said this before. This is why they have differing opinions of him. I've known about him. I read his first book way back, Art of the Deal, when it first came out. Too many people just know him from The Apprentice on out, or that he was in Home Alone too, right? And remember when they tried to get them to take him out of that Home Alone 2? We have just escaped the greatest evil insanity our country has ever gone through. Remember that. And this is the man who's going to take us out of it. I saw a ridiculous video, another channel, a former military guy who was whining and complaining about this being a worship of a man. It's not a worship of a man. It's understanding and recognizing a person who will step up and put it all on the line, who's a fighter, who has the right ideas, and is willing to lead. And there's too many people like this joker that put out that video that just want to go, wah. Okay. So Trump is something, man, and I've known about him before that. I know the things that he's accomplished in his life. I know his ups and downs, and that's why I'm not surprised at anything that has happened. So, okay. So if you've watched all that yesterday, it made my day. Today, we woke up to a different America. I don't care what anybody thinks. We have awakened in a new America. We will see what can be made of it. But I'll tell you what, he can't do it by himself. It takes everybody out there doing it. Although he is the one who has assumed the leadership, he put it all on the line. He put his butt on the line. You know what he put on the line, right? Did you happen to see, before I get to talking about all his executive orders, I just saw before I came in here that he has put on hold. Now, Rubio, who is the new Secretary of State, the first one that has been confirmed by the Senate, will be the one working on this with Trump. He has just put a 90-day freeze on all American foreign aid. What a brilliant... I have said this for years. I don't know if I've said it on here. I have said this for years. We do not need to be sending money to anybody, first off, who hates us, right? Would you give money to somebody who hates you to work against you? What kind of insanity is that? Well, we know that that's been done because it was done by people within the government who also hate our country, okay? Well, he's put a stop to it. And he said, I forget the wording of it. It was, they will review this for 90 days and they will, anybody who gets foreign aid from us, will have to align with the principles of the United States. Simple as that. And I've always said that. First, anybody who works against us should not get a dime. And anybody who wants it should be actively working for us. Okay. I don't believe in paying protection money or bribery. I don't believe in buying friends. Okay. We don't need a dang thing from them, and they need everything from us. Good. They need to come to us and say, could we have some money? And in exchange, we're going to do all of these things for you. And you know what I would say? Probably what he'll say. Well, that's not enough. I want more. That's right. Because if they want my help, I want something in return. Okay. Now, I'm not talking, somebody will say, well, it's not very Christian of you, Steve. Well, we're talking about a country. We're not talking about, if somebody comes and wants my help. That's a different thing. But that's going to be great. You know what? Think about these countries going 90 days without foreign aid from us. And if we're broke, we have no right giving foreign aid to anybody. We need to be given, if there's any kind of aid, it needs to be domestic aid. And not so much for supporting lazy people, just to keep that money in our economy. Simple as that. All right. I know, but if you give it to them and they buy stuff from us, let's not get into that. Okay. Because I could argue that one all day long. Okay. Let's get to the list of executive orders President Trump signed on his first day in office. Did you see that? He signed some right there at the parade in that place. Then he signed a bunch more. What a deal. I know I'm going to keep on talking about this, but did you see him in the Oval Office as he was signing all those executive orders and still talking back and forth with the reporters? It shows you how sharp this guy is. This guy is sharp beyond sharp. And anybody who's surprised at that, like I say, simply doesn't know very much about him. He did not start with The Apprentice. So, some biggies, I'm going to say here, and I've already posted, this comes from an article, and I've already posted the article on our Patreon channel. So if you'd like to see the whole article, it'll be over there for those of you who are members on the Patreon channel. Okay, first day at office, a couple things. Let's see. He declared a national emergency on the southern border while designating criminal cartels as terror groups. That's right. How about that? He signed an executive order to bring an end to birthright citizenship for children born to undocumented parents. Okay, now a lot of people are going to say, well, that's unconstitutional. I know that's what you've heard. And the Supreme Court might find it to be unconstitutional. But the wording in the 14th Amendment from which this comes, and then you have to understand the original intent of the Constitution and who it gave citizenship to, and the intent of the 14th Amendment, which was after the slaves were freed. And when a court looks at it, they look at the intent as well as the verbiage. But when you look at the verbiage of the 14th Amendment, it talks to people about people who were born, how does it put it? Well, if they are under the jurisdiction of another country, they do not get birthright citizenship here. Now, that's the crux of the issue. And we don't need to argue it here. People will have different points of view on that. And this is something that's going to go to the Supreme Court. So there's no reason to argue this in the comments, okay? Because I tell you what, that kind of argument should properly take a long time, okay? You're not going to get it done in the comments. So the point is that he has done this, and the reason that he's done this is to bring it up to the Supreme Court. Okay, birthright citizenship, and that's something that I have been against for a long time, and many of you have too. All right. He pardoned more than 1,500 people who were charged with storming the J6 folks. Excellent. Good for him. And there's, of course, an argument about that. They say, well, he went against what Vance said. Vance said that they weren't going to pardon anybody who had committed violence during J6. And, that's another sticking point. If I were in court, I would, be comfortable arguing either side on what constitutes violence. Okay, so that's another legal issue. All right. And so he's pardoned those who were not involved in, I'll just leave it. He pardoned a bunch who have not been convicted. He has commuted the sentence of those, or is thinking about commuting the sentences of those who are convicted. Okay, and now this was a funny one. He wants to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. I have no problem with that. He's probably just trolling, right? He's probably just trolling because it gets people so upset. But why not? I mean, go back to why did they call it the Gulf of Mexico to begin with? This is a long time, right? who supports more of that except, the cartels and the tourist traps down on the Gulf Coast of Mexico? Well, the United States does. So we're not calling it the Gulf of the United States. He wants to call it the Gulf of America, and that would be better. All right. Uh, Signed an executive order to delay the ban on TikTok for 75 days. Good. I've said here before that I was against banning TikTok for a variety of reasons. Those who are against TikTok are against it because they have fallen prey to this argument that it is a Chinese intelligence gathering vehicle. Well, yeah, to an extent that it is, yeah. Just like Facebook is, just like YouTube is, just like Google is, just like everything is. It's all. But you know why they hated TikTok? Now, I've told this story before, and I don't want to get too far into this, but I was against TikTok because I had heard this, right? Well, it's a Chinese spy thing. You don't want that on your phone. They're going to get all your information. Okay, well, they can get the information of, who I called to get new tires and whatever they want. And there was a guy in our group. We have a group that would send, group texts back and forth. There was a guy in our group who was always sending stuff from TikTok. And I wouldn't open it. I wouldn't watch it because, it's bad Chinese intelligence, blah, blah, blah. Finally, one day, and it was surprising because this guy's a super straight guy, huge patriot, former military, just jam up, right? And I said, why is he sending TikTok stuff? So finally I opened one, and you know what? I don't remember what it was, but I do remember that it was the truth, and it was something that was not being covered on our media. So I started looking into it, and right before this election, I was talking to my son. We were discussing the political, goings on, and he was brilliant. He knew. He's more conservative than 90% of the people out there. I almost said y'all, but you all are great. I said, where did you hear this? Where did you learn all this? I'm, hoping he'd say, from you, Dad. No, he said TikTok. I said, well, TikTok, really? He says, yeah, man, that's where everybody gets all this stuff from TikTok. He says, my generation is so conservative, so much more conservative than many of their parents, because we get it from TikTok. And you know what? The thing is, TikTok puts out so much truth. Trump was voted in because of the young vote. And a lot of that, if not most of it, came from TikTok. Now, why do you think our government wants to ban TikTok? Same reason the Soviet Union and East Germany wanted to ban Voice of America. Think about it. Okay? So, no, I'm not at all. And now that they were going to ban TikTok, China just came out with Red Note. And everybody's jumping on Red Note. Why? Because it's a response to how much they hated the intrusive, oppressive oppression of our government trying to take TikTok off. And that is, Red Note is 100%. Much more than TikTok, as I understand it. Okay? So that's good. And should there be... and Trump explained it very well. He says, yeah, we want half ownership. The United States wants half ownership. He says right now it's not worth anything if we scrub it, but it could be worth a lot of money if we allow it to go on. And if we allow it to go on, it's going to be they need to give us half, and then it will be worth a lot. So you see, that's the deal maker in him. And when you're talking about politics, when you're talking about life, you have to understand the importance of deals and compromise. I know there will be some, I'm not going to compromise on this. I'm not going to compromise on my morals. Well, don't compromise on your morals. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about global politics, business, all sorts of things. And if you're a person who doesn't know how to do that, you're probably not doing very well, to be honest. I don't mean you. I mean the person that says that. Okay, let's see. We will find, let's find a few more here to talk about for just a minute. Okay, reinstating the name Mount McKinley that they renamed Denali because they didn't like McKinley. Designating the cartels. And each one of these links that I'll put up there, the link will take you to the exact executive order that you can read the whole thing. Okay. Cartels is foreign terrorist organizations. Exactly right. That gives us the ability to do a lot more with them. And now we've got a hammer over Mexico. Ending DEI. Ending DEI in hiring in the federal government. And that includes the military. Oh, but did you see that that they took down Milli Vanilli's, General Milli Vanilli, his portrait over in the Pentagon within hours after Trump getting in and him accepting the pardon from Biden? Yeah, Hondo Bob put an excellent explanation of that also on the Patreon channel. Go check it out. He'll explain to you. Hondo Bob is one of our, I should call them tier 1 guys, commenters, patrons. So read that. Again, if you're not with us on Patreon, you ought to be. Links down below. Okay, well, he's got some stuff about energy, wind energy, and stuff like that. Yeah. Revocation of any active or current security clearances held by the former intelligence officials involved in the inappropriate political coordination with the 2020 Biden presidential campaign and John Bolton. Bingo. Those 51 intelligence chiefs that said, well, Hunter's laptop, that is Russian influence. It's fake. We have so many anti-American commies in our government, many of them in the intelligence organizations, particularly the CIA and the FBI. A lot of people don't realize the FBI, that's not a law enforcement agency. It's an intelligence. It's a domestic intelligence agency for the most part. Okay, but that's it. He's taken away their security clearances. Pardons for the J6 rioters. One of them was reevaluating U.S. foreign aid, but he's done that. He's put a 90-day hold on that. He's declaring a national energy emergency. That's right. Drill, baby, drill. Going to refill our strategic petroleum holdings to the top, he said, to the top. And we'll be able to do that at a lower price as he brings down the cost of crude and gasoline. It brings down the cost of fuel. You know what Biden did. You know that in an attempt to bring down fuel costs a penny, he damn near depleted our emergency petroleum reserves. And, I would say probably he did that at the behest of his Chinese masters. There's a bunch here. I'm going to skip over a bunch here. Let's go. Restoring the death penalty. Routing more water from the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta to other parts of California. Yeah. Securing the U.S. borders. Oh, did you hear that the border patrolman was killed this morning up on the Canada border? That's too bad. We keep him in our prayers and his family. People don't think about so much of the northern border, but a lot of places, a lot of people are coming in across that. Securing the U.S. borders. That's right. Realignment of the U.S. refugee admissions program. Darn right. He's going to reinstitute the Remain in Mexico. Unleashing America's affordable and reliable energy and natural resources. Right? He said this last night. We have more oil and gas in our country than the rest of the world. We are Saudi Arabia times whatever. Okay? There's no reason we should ever import gas or oil. Clarifying the military's role in protecting the U.S. borders. I think that we're going to find some very interesting things coming out of that. America First trade policy that benefits American workers, manufacturers, farmers, ranchers, entrepreneurs, and businesses. That's right. Um, Withdrawing from the World Health Organization. How about that? Withdrawing from who? And he withdrew from the Paris Accords, climate accords. Okay, you heard that. Um, Accountability within the federal workforce. No more DEI is going to keep men out of your daughter's bathrooms. Okay, I think that a lot of these things. I think I've already said this. Ending DEI programs in the federal government. What that's going to do also is going to make it a lot easier to sue private organizations. And you know, ever since this is the effect of new leadership. You know how many people since Trump won the election have already done away with their entire DEI departments. Okay. Well, that's just a few of them. I'll put the whole list up on the Patreon page, channel, link down below. The point here is, and I hate little catchphrases like "there's a new sheriff in town" or anything like that. I detest that. But there is new leadership. Finally, the American people rose up and they supported somebody who is a fighter and who will get things done. Now, he's going to have a fight on his hand. And how quickly and how much of this he's going to be able to do depends entirely on the support he gets from a very thin majority in the House of Representatives, Republican majority, somewhat bigger majority in the Senate. He's going to need those people, okay? And those people will or will not support him in these agendas, depending on the pressure they get from their voters, their constituents. That's why voting, that's why being involved in the political process is so important. It really is bottom up. You know, the saying that all politics are local, that's what it means, is that if your representative knows that enough people in their district want them to do a certain thing or they're not getting reelected, guess what? They're going to do it. That's what we need to do. We need to keep the pressure on. And, of course, the whole thing is down the road. I'm going to bring this to a conclusion in just a second. Go to that and read all of the others. The thing is that once he gets to going on this, we have to keep on the pressure. And what that means is talking to people. Your voting was good, but now you have to get out there. You have to understand the positions. You have to be able to explain them. You have to be able to promote these ideas and these agendas to more people. Because one administration, one Trump administration can't get it solved forever. We need it to go beyond this. This should be the point at which liberalism, communism should not be able to raise its head for a generation. Okay, my dream team, like I said on another channel earlier, would be Trump Vance for the next 4 years, Vance Gabbard for the next 8 years, and then Gabbard whoever for the years after that. I know there's going to be a lot of people that come on. Well, I don't trust Gabbard. She was a Democrat. Yeah, so was I. So was Ronald Reagan. So was Trump. She was a part of what's his name? The WEF leadership. And no, she wasn't. But that gets put out there, and people hear it, so they think they know about it. Doesn't matter. Look into these things. You have to look into these things. Okay. All right. It is another morning in America. It's time to make America great again. You know this cup, right? 45, 47. I've had these out for a while. These are selling big. And I have a new set of mugs coming out. I'm designing them right now. A new set of mugs that you're probably going to want when they get out. But we're still fulfilling orders that we've been backed up on. And I think we're going to get them all done by tonight or tomorrow. So I'm not going to talk about new items until we have all of the old items shipped to our valued customers. All right. Okay. Well, looks like things are. Interesting thing is when I named this channel after my first book, American Reversion. Well, the title was The Reversion, but and then you know what the titles of my second book and third book were? The Revival and the Renewal. Well, I think we're going through a reversion, a revival, and a renewal in our country, and we hope that it continues, and it will, if everybody stays on point and supports President Trump like we should, and also holds our representatives' feet to the fire. Okay? All right, guys. America needs a reversion. Looks like it's coming. Do your part, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.